Here we are at the High Availability Lab. I have made a big discovery of epic proportions. After about 8 hours of troubleshooting, rebuilding the lab, and web searching for a solution, I found a forum where several other people were having the same problem. While using the demo version of the LTM, the two devices would not sync. This is a limitation of the demo version as it does not support HA configurations. There are two ways around this. One, if you are planning on getting more experience with F5 technology, you can buy the lab version license for $100, and it allows you to provision most modules F5 offers, including GTM, ASM, and APM. The second option is, if you're not ready to make the commitment to F5 yet, then you can email me through Udemy, and I will email you 2 45-day trial licenses for the use in this lab and the upcoming labs. If you choose option 1, go to the website and read more about it at packetpushers.net. Here, you can read more about what it offers, how much it used to cost, which was $2,000 for the lab version, and of course, which modules it comes with, and how much data transfer could be used with each module. To purchase, CDW.com is one of several companies offering the lab version license. You can do a search to find others. At CDW.com, you can simply go to the search and search for F5 lab license. And you see that the virtual lab license is here. I'm not sure if this is the correct one, but it's advertised at $96.99. So best thing to do is probably call them up and make sure this is the correct license before you purchase. If you choose option 2, you will need to send me an email. It may take a few days for me to get back to you with the trial license. Regardless of which option you choose, you will need to go to downloads.f5.com and download the software. Once you log in, you could click Find a Download. I'm going to use version 11, Virtual Edition. And I'm not going to use 11.6. I will use 11.5.1. And I want the full version, virtual license. It's down here. I'll click to download. I'll accept their agreement. And I am using VMware Workstation, so I need an ESX. And it looks like this one here. I'll download that. Once it's downloaded, we'll need to provision this like we did in the lab in the beginning of this course. Now that I have the file downloaded, I'll open up VMware Workstation. I will open a virtual machine. I'll go to where my download is, and I'll click on the big IP 11.5.1 and open. I'm going to name this LTM1. And we're going to need to do this twice. We'll need 2 LTMs. This will be LTM1, and the other one will be LTM2. So I'll import and accept. And while this is converting to VMware Workstation, I'll pause this video. This will take several minutes. Okay, the first one just finished. I'll go back to my home page, and I will create a second one. So I'll click on the image again. And this is going to be LTM2. And the best part about doing this all over again is it gives you practice, the F5 101 and the 201 exams. So I'll import and accept once again. Now I need to set up my network adapters. So I'll go ahead and open these. The first one is going to be bridged because we need internet connection for our provisioning. The second one, we will use the VMnet 1, which is our NAT. And the third one is VMnet 2. And our fourth one, we will just remove. We're going to change memory. We only really need maybe 2 gigs at most. If you need to move down to 1 gig, you can do that as well. And I'm just going to give it one processor. Okay. And that one's done. We'll do LTM2 the same way. It's going to be bridged for the first one. Second one is going to be VMnet 1. And the third is VMnet 2. And then just remove VMnet 4. And make sure you change your memory once again. And your processors. I'll click OK. And now we're ready to start these up. So I will go ahead and power on my machines. And I'm also going to power on my XP client. Just a quick note, if your LTM complains about not having enough memory during boot, just go ahead and shut it down and give it 2 gigs of memory. Now that the LTM is booted, we could log in. The username is root, all lowercase, and the password is default, all lowercase as well. And then to find the IP address, we could use ifconfig and then eth0. And this one's at 192.168.1.110. So what we can do is open a browser on our desktop. We're not going to go to the XP client yet. I'm using Chrome, so I'll need to accept the certificate. And now we could log in as admin and admin. And now we could start provisioning this device. So I'll click Next and Activate. I'll paste in my key and then Next. And we'll accept. We'll have to log in one more time after a license is accepted. Admin and admin. And now we can continue our provisioning. I'll click Next. And now we just want to make sure that LTM is provisioned, since that's all we're using. And we'll click Next. And Next again. All right, I'm going to manually set the IP address and management ports. And this is going to be 192.168.4.31. Subnet mask is going to be 255.255.255.0. Management is 192.168.4.1. And my host name, I will call this Big IP 4.f5trn.com. And I am in Denver, so I'll use time zone there. And password, I am just going to use my admin, or actually for the root account, I will use root and root. And then my admin is just going to be admin and admin. And then I'll click Next. And at this point, I'm going to be on a different network. So I will need to change my VMnet. So I can go back to my workstation. If I right click on the LTM1, I could go to Settings. And my bridged, I'll switch this to VMnet 3. And click OK. All right, now that it's been provisioned, I could log back in. So I'll just click Next and use my new passwords, which is admin and admin. And I'll click Next and Next. We've already provisioned. And we've already given an IP address. It's going to ask for this again. This will be root and root. And then admin, admin. Click next. It's going to want me to log back in, so I'll do admin and admin. And now we want to click on next. We want to set up our standard network configuration. So I'm just going to click next here. Our self IP address is going to be 172.16.4.31. Netmask is going to be 255.255.0.0. And our floating IP is 172.16.4.33. We're going to use the 1.2 VLAN. I'll move it to untagged and then click next. And now we're going to create an external VLAN. And this is going to be 10.10.4.31. Subnet mask is 255.255.0.0. And our default gateway we'll leave blank. Our floating IP is going to be 10.10.4.33. And we're going to use 1.1 for the VLAN interface. Click next. Select existing VLAN. We're going to use the internal. And we'll click next. We'll just accept this. And we'll accept both of these. We'll accept this one as well. Alright, from here, we'll just select finished. I'm going to create a backup of this configuration. So I'll go to Archives or System Archives and then Create. I will call this baseconfig.ucs and click Finished. And since this is going to be our primary device, I'm just going to go ahead and create some pools and some virtual servers, just so that when we create the redundant pair, we could see the configuration move over to the secondary device. So I'll go to Pools, I'll create a new pool, I'll call this HTTP pool, I'll use a HTTP monitor, and round robin, my IP addresses are going to be 172.16.20.1 port 80. I'll add this, and then my second server is .2. I'll add, and my third server .3. I'll click Finished. I'll add one more pool, which is the HTTPS pool. So I will do HTTPS pool. I'm going to use the HTTPS monitor, round robin, and I'm going to use the same IP addresses. And port is going to be 443. My second server and my third server. And click Finished. Now I'll go to virtual servers. I'm going to create a new one. I'll call this VS HTTPS. My IP address is going to be 10.10.4.100. Service port is going to be 80. And my pool is going to be a default of HTTP pool. I'll click finished. I'll create one more. I'm going to call this VS underscore HTTPS. IP address is going to be 10.10.4.100. Port is going to be 443. And the default pool will be the HTTPS pool. Click finished. So it looks like this is all set. We're going to go ahead and provision the secondary device now. So I'm going to go to System, Archive. I'm going to create a backup. So this is going to be my LTM1 and then .ucs. Click finished and OK. So now we'll go to LTM2. We're going to see what IP address. So we'll log in with root and default. I'm going to use ifconfig eth0. My IP address 192.168.1.111. So I'll get my browser back and we'll go to that IP address. I'm just going to open a new tab. Click on Advanced, Accept. I'll log in with admin and admin. We'll do the same thing here. We're going to add our license. Click Next. I'll accept the license. Now I'll log in again. Admin and admin. Going to click Next. I'm just going to verify that my LTM is provisioned, and it is. Then we'll just click Next and Next. Select manual. My IP address will be 192.168.4.32. Subnet mask is going to be 255.255.255.0. Management route is 192.168.4.1. Hostname is going to be bigip2.f5trn.com. Time zone is Denver. Alright, I'll use the same passwords for this one. Root and root. Admin, admin. And this is going to take a few minutes while it provisions. And now I need to go back to my F5 and right click on LTM2, settings, and I need to give my network adapter, I need to change it to VMnet 3. Click OK. And now we'll wait for the browser to come back up. Now I can go to Advanced, Proceed, and I'll log back in, Admin and Admin. I'll click Next, run through this again, and Next. Click Next. I'll re-enter my users and passwords. So root and root. Admin, admin. Click Next. It'll ask me to log back in. Okay, we'll click Next on the standard network configuration, and Next. Our self IP is going to be 172.16.4.32. Subnet mask is 255.255.0.0. Our floating IP is going to be a 172.16.4.33, which is the same as we had on the other one. We're going to move our VLAN over. We're going to use the 1.2. We're basically configuring this the same way we did with the first one. The only difference is our self IPs are just one character off. So our internal is going to be 10.10.4.32. Subnet mask 255.255.0.0. Our default gateway will be blank. And our floating IP is going to be 10.10.4.33. We'll use 1.1 for our VLAN. And this is going to be existing, internal, and we'll just click Next, and Next. And we'll accept these. And Next one more time. And the reason I'm doing this, instead of just going over here and doing the advanced configuration for setting up our HA configuration, is in the real world, you rarely have two brand new LTMs just waiting to be put in production. A lot of times you'll start with one, and then you'll add a second one for the redundancy. And then sometimes one will fail, so you'll have to reintroduce a brand new one in. All right, so at this point, we're just going to go ahead and click Finished. I'm going to go to my system. I'm going to create a backup of the base config and create. This is going to be base config, and it's going to be .ucs. Click Finished. And now we have two systems. Now we're going to go to our primary unit, which is Unit 1, or LTM1. We'll go to Device Management. We'll go to Device Trust, and then Peer List, and we're going to add, and this is going to be our secondary IP, or secondary device IP. So we'll use a 192.168.4.32, and then our username and password for that device. Mine is admin and admin. We'll go ahead and retrieve. And we just created a trust between the two devices. If we go back to our secondary device, we go to Device Management, our trust, and we can go to Peer List, and we'll see that it's already been added. Now we'll go back to our primary, and we'll go under Device Group, and we'll create, and I will name this HA1. This is going to be a sync failover, and I'll move both devices over into this. Since this is a virtual machine, I'm going to use network failover and then click Next. Now we can see this is awaiting initial config, and if we go to the second one, it also has the same message. So let's go back to the primary. Now we'll go to Overview. We can click on either of these. And in this case, we actually have the configuration on our big IP 4.f5trn.com. So I'm going to click on that one. I will sync to device group. If you do sync group to device, you'll probably wipe out your configuration. So I'll go ahead and click sync. And now I'll go to my secondary device. I'll log back in because it looks like it timed out. Admin and admin. And we can see that the device is in sync. If we go to our LTM virtual servers, we can see that those have pulled over. We could come down to our pool members and we could see that those are there. So if we make a change on either of these devices, it's going to tell us we need to sync. So let's go ahead and try that. We'll go to LTM, virtual servers. We're just going to create a new virtual server. And this one is going to be VS HTTPS 2. Okay, I'm going to use an IP address of 10.4.4.1. Port will be 443. And I'm just going to go ahead and assign it the HTTPS pool. I'll click Finished. And now if we scroll up, we see changes pending. And on the secondary, we also see changes pending. So if we just click on Sync Pending, it's going to take us to the sync window. And we could click on the device we are currently on. And then we want to sync device to group. We'll go ahead and click that. And now it just pushed the configuration over to the secondary. So we could verify by coming over here. And we can see that our VS HTTPS 2 virtual server has been created. Now if we'd like to test failover functionality, we can go to Devices under the Device Management tab. We could click on our active device, which is currently the BIG-IP2. We could scroll down. We'll see Force to Standby. We could click on that. And yes, I want to force it. And now we can see this is now the standby unit. BIG-IP4 is now the active unit. And we could push it back if we'd like. We just go back to Devices. We click on the active one, which will have the green circle. We can scroll down, Force to Standby. And now we're standby again. And really quick, if you ever want to see if your devices are in sync with each other and which one's primary and which one's secondary, you can go to the Device Management Overview, and this shows you both devices all in one window. And it also shows if your HA pair is in sync. So I hope you've learned something. And now it's time to update to the latest hotfix. And we'll do that in the next lab. Thanks for watching.